Thank you very much for joining us. Our sign language interpreter tonight is William Siller.
Now, estimates now say that nearly 100 people have been killed in the latest retaliatory attacks in Baringo County.
Raids and counter-raids have been going on for the last 2 days, and only last year 22 police officers were killed in an ambush in Kapedo.
KTN's Dennis Onsarigo with the cry of two communities now living at the mercy of raiders.
The killing fields of Baringo barely 7 months after the massacre of 22 police officers in a brazen raid by bandits. This time the raiders did not go for police officers attending to a stalled police van, but a village in East Pokot where they killed 5 family members. The attackers were hunted down moments later by a rival community in a gunfight lasting several hours. Red Cross officials say 94 people were killed, the highest number since November last year. The latest killings occurred in Kasarani and Nadome areas just kilometers away from the scene where administration police officers were gunned down last year. The killing last year saw a tough-talking president.
Kwa wale ambao wanafikiria ya kwamba watarudisha nchi hii nyuma kwa kutuletea siasa za karne zilizopita. Hizo hatuelewi sisi. Tuajua ya kwamba taifa hili ni la wananchi milioni 40 wa Kenya.
Mimi silaha hizo ambazo zilichukuliwa kutoka hawa askari, mimi sitaki kungojea wiki mbili, nataka zirudishwe leo. Lazima mnajua wako wapi.
The guns were returned, number of military boots increased on the ground, but the perpetrators of the attacks were never brought to book. The government appears to have failed in grasping the deep-rooted animosities between the two communities and instead deployed hundreds of security officers in a show of might.
Kama serikali wanakataa wasipewe bunduki hapa, watoe bunduki ya serikali kutoka Turkana yote pia iende. Kila mtu akae bila bunduki.
Machiefs na wazee watakueleza huyu mkora iko hapa, huyu mkora iko hapa, huyu mkora iko hapa, tafuta huyo mkora. Lakini hapana ingia boma ya mtu ati unachukua ng'ombe yake ama mbuzi yake kwa nguvu. Hiyo ni sheria gani?
While the county government says past fighting has been fueled by boundary disputes, security experts are warning the discovery of natural resources could be at the center of the bloodletting. The national government has failed to create a buffer zone between the two warring communities, with residents now saying security personnel have instead turned on innocent women, children and traders in their latest crackdown. In Longoyani, Marsabit County, 7 children were shot dead and nothing stolen from them. The 7, 5 boys and 2 girls, were killed as 10 others sustained gunshot injuries. The killings were carried out by raiders from a neighboring county this morning, just a day after similar killings in a village in Samburu. Denson Sarigo, KTN Prime.
Well, we now go live. Beg your pardon. We go now live to our managing editor, Joe Age, who is in Turkana with some details of exactly what has unfolded in the last 24 hours in Turkana. Very good evening to you, Joe. Could you tell us exactly, do we know, as at this moment, how many people have been killed in this attack?
Well, Wilson, unfortunately, no. I think that one of the biggest casualties in this whole episode is information because, I mean, since this thing happened yesterday, information has been trickling very slowly. Right now, I'm actually in Lodwar, where I've been trying to track down the county commissioner. I spoke to him a short while ago. His name is Julius Mazenge, and he seems to be saying a few interesting things, one of them being that actually this happened yesterday, and that, in fact, the reports that there was a fresh raid today are not true, according to him. But he also seems to be saying that he doesn't know the number of people who have been killed. He's saying that this place has a lot of traps and things like that, and that they have been unable to physically count the number of people that have been killed in this latest attack. And it's quite interesting, Wilson, because this place is terribly inaccessible given the poor infrastructure that characterizes most of this vast county. This county is 77,000 kilometers square, and the place where this happened is about more than 300, close to 400 kilometers from Lodwar, where the county commissioner is as we speak right now. So he hasn't been to the ground, but he says that according to the government, the official position is that they know that there was a raid yesterday at 4 a.m. They know that some livestock was stolen. They don't know how many. They also know that some people were killed. They don't know how many. But they're saying that the place has been cordoned off and that a security operation of some sort is currently underway, Wilson.
Which is very unfortunate now that this information, we really do not have any information as at the moment. So how was the government response? How was the security response in this attack? There were reports that there was another attack in the morning. There was another attack yesterday. How was the government, what was the government response to this attack?
Well, according to the county commissioner, at least, because he's the only government official that has been speaking to us on this issue a short while ago after he attended a certain security meeting that has been going on for a good part of the afternoon here in Lodwar town. And he says that the security people are now on the ground. He says they've cordoned off the place. They say that they're trying to track down these people who stole the livestock to ensure that they don't leave the area. Details incredibly scanty, Wilson, with regard to this, because as I mentioned, that when these kinds of raids happen, these government officials are quite edgy about figures, about details, because sometimes they imagine that the communities, perhaps on hearing the statistics and all that there might be some retaliatory attacks. So they have been very edgy and cagey as well in terms of the information that they are giving. But yeah, the response when this was happening, they're pretty unclear, because the county commissioner himself admits that in fact this thing started at 4 a.m. but went on for a very good part of the day, Wilson.
Lastly, Joe, before we let you go, I'm sure that you're a few kilometers from Turkana or from the area, but have you managed to talk to any of the residents, and what is the feeling on the ground in regards to the security situation?
No, I mean, the information that we get mainly from people who have talked to people there. As you can imagine, that there is quite some confusion in that place. A lot of people worried about what happened. But the sentiment that you get from a lot of people here, because that is something that's being followed very closely from different places around this county, is that this has to stop, because it's been going on for a long time. Remember, Dennis mentioned in his story Capedo, which was quite tragic. This Nadome place that it happened then is squarely inside Turkana. There's never actually been a dispute, so to speak, about where it is located. So the fact that there was this clash that appeared to involve members of the Pokot community and the Turkanas as well raises very many interesting questions about why the other people who are found this deep inside Turkana. But obviously that border between Turkana County and West Pokot, as well as the border between Turkana County and Baringo County, which is at issue at the moment as we speak, these borders seem to have quite some problems, and I think that going forward there will be need to pacify those places, so to speak, and find some lasting solution, because I can tell you there's pretty much going on here in terms of frustration within the county government and generally within Turkana County also.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. Do take care of yourself while you're there. That's our managing editor, Joe Ageo, who is in Turkana, giving us an update of the situation on the ground. Very interesting fact that the government does not yet know how many people have been killed in this attack. And the area has now been cordoned off. Again, scarcity of information. This is what we are finding out right now. Nancy, up to you with the Red Cross to see whether we can get a bit more information on exactly what is going on in Turkana.
Right, thank you, Wilson. Well, of course, this is not a new conflict. For decades now, peace between the Turkana and Pokot communities in the Rift Valley has been elusive. These conflicts so far have been associated with resource competition, cattle rustling, and also the wide availability of small arms. And this latest incident, of course, scores have been killed, several injured after this raid by bandits on that village along the Turkana-East Pokot border. Well, to help us understand some of the challenges between between the two tribes and the barriers between the present conflict and the way to peace. Tonight we're going to speak to Kilu Kioko. He's the head of monitoring and evaluation at the Kenya Red Cross. Thank you so much for coming this evening.
Thank you very much.
And you mentioned to me while Dennis Onsarigo's story was going on that you were part of that operation, weren't you?
The previous operation.
The previous operation.
Yes, yes.
So you know pretty well what's happening with this situation. Okay, well, one of the first things, as Joe Ageo mentioned, the first casualty is information. We still don't have a very good handle on how many people have died. Do you have any better idea what the death toll is at the moment?
No, generally, Nancy, what is happening is this is a remote area, really with difficulty of access. As we talk to you now, our teams led by the county government, the CEC for Health, have just arrived from a distance of almost 30 kilometers. They left at the operational base camp in Chemoligot early this morning, and they are only able to be back by 6. And there's no road network, there's no telephone communication. We can only get in touch with the ground teams by VHF vehicle radios, and it's really a NAD operational area. Yeah.
So there is not even an estimate, a concrete estimate that you have.
They had to call off the operation because of darkness. As I said, the access is from where they leave the vehicles. They have to walk kilometers trekking, and we're up to now we don't have the real estimate. So we have only evacuated around 9 people have already been evacuated to Chemoligot District Hospital, and they may be further referred to either Nakuru or Baringo District Hospital, but that will be determined by the other experts on the ground. But so far we don't have the actual numbers. As I said, the access is a major implication of this area.
So no real updates at the moment?
No real updates at the moment, but the teams are already on the ground.
The teams are there, and we will find out.
By tomorrow, we should be able to get the rough figures of real estimates of the number of fatalities and number injured in this.
Right. Now, this conflict has been going on for decades, and there have been several peace meetings. I think the Red Cross has supported a lot of these. Since December 2013, there have been more than 5, and we keep saying we're going to see resolutions, we're going to see changes. I was looking at a report from just last year that said the situation has improved, but this latest incident seems to definitely suggest otherwise. Is this a case of a situation that is getting worse?
Yeah, generally, I think looking at even the data received from our emergency operations center here in Nairobi, we are reporting over 50 instances since January of armed conflict in northern Kenya, northeastern and North Rift alone. Over 50 instances have been reported within our and we are seeing an increasing frequency, an increasing and also the increasing magnitude of these operations. What we're also seeing and what we're also getting from the ground the last time we were there and we were talking to the locals is immemorial, this issue of cattle rustling in fighting was associated with maybe some things to do with ceremonies, circumcision ceremonies, things to do with weddings and all those kind of things.
It was cultural.
It was cultural, so to say. But nowadays we are seeing a mix of some kind of a systemic kind of continuous attack, the approaches and even the scheming of how this is done. And then the worrying part is the magnitude of the number affected with any single attack. So this brings now the complexities.
So people have pointed to 3 things in the past: water, cattle, grass. They say that resources are really at the heart of this conflict. Would you agree with that assessment, or would you say there are other factors in play?
Basically yes, and basically no. The resources is one. Now look at the water, the whatever as one factor. But we're also seeing issues around border issues. I remember the last time we were doing a cholera operation there, the issue of where to take patients to which hospital is an issue, which like the place called Kapedo. There are issues about where does Kapedo, does it belong to the Turkanas, does it belong to Pokots, and there are also indication of border being a major issue in this, and also natural resources are coming in. The issue about geothermal power in those areas and how this is utilized by the locals is something also trying to come. So yes, there are the resources, scarcity of resources, but we are also seeing new emergent issues coming up.
Which one worries you the most? Which one of those new emerging issues do you find most troubling?
The most troubling issue is really goes back to the resources. But I'm saying there, there are those that we call them the contributing factors, because since time immemorial those things were there. But now the issue of, does this area really belong to us, or does this area belong to the others? The issue of moving people, shifting manyatas, because they burn the manyatas so that they move the places. We had an interesting scenario the last time we were doing this operation, and particularly where these incident attack were called Nadome. Physically, Nadome on map is not the physical. What is available on the map as Nadome is not the physical one. Well, when you got the ground where they were flying there with a chopper, and when the pilot could see the Nadome on the map, we went down. But when we went on the ground, they said, no, this is not Nadome. Nadome is another place. So even the mix of the names and the locality is also another issue coming into play.
Some clear boundary
basically,
issues.
as I said, resources again is also something to, and again, poor infrastructure in some of these areas. Yeah.
Well, this obviously has far-reaching effects. More than 164,000 people have been displaced by these conflicts, and that may seem like just a number, but that's actually more than everyone who lives in Nyeri town. The population there is 125,000, and the effects of this are far-reaching. Women and children are suffering. They've been displaced. Do you think that Kenya is paying enough attention to this situation, or is this a case of what happens in the north stays in the north?
No, I think it's becoming it's a Kenyan concern. All actors are on board. Just give an example, like now the team deep down in Ndome is being led by the CC Health for Baringo County. Kenya Red Cross is there, and other players are there. The political leaders are already on the ground. So it is getting the attention that is required. Is only that we need now to go deep into the root causes of some of these things and look at it. Is it something? Is this kind of conflict going to be, are there reasons associated with it, or can we say it's scientifically is a genetic kind of a conflict, which we may not say so. But again, going deep down, where are we looking at? Those are some of the things we will continuously continue dialogue with the main people, the leaders on the ground, the communities themselves, the young youth, and also how they are engaged into these activities.
And certainly we'll be hoping for a lasting solution.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us tonight, and of course we will stay in touch for more details as they do come your way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. I'll hand you back to Wilson.
Well, we certainly do hope that we can get more information from that attack in Turkana. Let's move on. Newborn babies are considered a bundle of joy, but for Elkanah Guaro Gilo, his latest newborns are nothing but a burden. The resident of Kogelo village in Siaya County has been left holding his newborn triplets after his wife died at childbirth, and now he wants to give them away. Victor Gale reports.
If the well-wishers can come in and say, we are now taking these children for the first 2 years, we'll pay you for the bill, so that you just go there, visit your children, and you come back nurturing the ones now at home. I can feel okay.
The pain of a man who has not only just lost his wife, but also gained an additional 3 more mouths to feed. Already, Elkanah had 4 children. With the birth of the triplets, he now has 7 children.
It will be good if she was alive. That one we could come together as a family and see how we can nurture these children. But when we realize that they are triplet and the mom has passed away, I start saying, hey, how will I start?
What began as a normal trip to the clinic ended tragically for one Elkanah Guaro Gilo. As soon as his wife gave birth to the triplets, she breathed her last and did not even see her new babies. Elkanah vividly remembers the turn of events on that fateful day. He and his late wife, Mary Atieno Guara, walked for 5 kilometers to the nearest health center at Tingwang.
It was a very hard walk because she cannot walk. Sometimes she's claiming about she's not having enough oxygen to breathe in. So we just make a move up to that place.
On arrival at Tingwang Health Center, all was initially well, and the late Mary Atieno delivered her first 2 babies normally. She, however, developed complications thereafter and had to be rushed to the Siaya County Faro Hospital. And after a successful operation, Elkanah's third born was delivered, weighing 1.8 kilograms. And just as they heaved a sigh of relief at the successful delivery, the Gwara family was suddenly thrust into a moment of anxiety.
Wakaleta huyu kwa ward. Yeah. On seeing the wife, I saw her if she cannot, she was weak, she cannot notice anybody. Then for a few minutes, she asked for, amesema anasikia kiu. Yeah, she want water to drink. If I ask the sister, can you give her a drink? They say no, we cannot give her a drink because what we have injected does not allow that.
Since it was approaching nightfall, the 38-year-old had to depart for home in Nyangoma Kogelo village, which is over 15 kilometers from Siaya town. He was hopeful that his wife would get better.
Ikifika morning, I was still sleeping. My mom have just arrived. I just hear people are crying, coming, following her. So when I opened the door, I just meet my mom here, and she said, your wife has passed at around 5.
Already mourners are trooping into Elkanah's home for funeral arrangements, even as he ponders how to raise funds to pay for the medical bill his wife incurred. Elkanah's wife will be buried on Saturday, the 9th of May. In the African setup, children are considered a bundle of joy, but for one Elkanah Ogilo, the arrival of his newborn babies has proven otherwise, as it has left him -1 family member. Victor Ogale, KTN.
That is such a difficult situation, almost unfathomable that a father would feel pressured to give away his children.
I'm actually lost for words. There's either way you look at it, it's terrible.
It is quite
just
sad.
Unfortunate.
Well, which way do you look at it? Let us know. Our big Q tonight, we're asking you whether you think that this Kogelo father is justified in giving away his triplets due to his circumstances.
That's right. Let's hear your views on SMS line 22155. That is the number. Or on Twitter at Wilson_Buru at Kachungira. And we'll, of course, sample your views as the bulletin continues.
That's right. Now, Khadija Abdullahi Ibrahim, the 16-year-old girl who was allegedly burnt by her 60-year-old husband, is now receiving treatment at the Kenyatta National Hospital. Khadija's heart-wrenching story came to the fore last week when disturbing pictures of her burnt body surfaced. Betty Kialo now reports on these latest developments that have also seen the husband arraigned in court.
Tuesday morning, and there is a ray of hope for 16-year-old Khadija Abdullahi. A morning that saw her get airlifted from Mandera County to Nairobi for urgent medical attention. She looked frail and in pain, but her fighting spirit could not go unnoticed. Khadija's story took the world by storm. For a long time, she was living at the mercy of her assailant, 60-year-old Sharif Isaac, who happens to be her husband. He tortured her time and time again. The last time he is said to have beaten her so badly, she became unconscious. And if that's not enough, he burnt parts of her body with hot charcoal from the fire. According to her uncle, Khadija never wanted to get married in the first place. She, just like a promising young woman, wanted to pursue her education. However, her family forced her into the marriage early 2014.
Amechomwa kwa sababu aliingia kwa forced marriage hata wakati ya kwanza. Si ati marriage anapenda. It's like a forced marriage. So that is vile imepigwa ni hivyo, na amesema amechomwa sana, hata imepigwa sana.
The mother, however, told KTN that she did not want her daughter to be forcefully married off, but her extended family made that decision and it was final.
Semeji yangu kwanza ajui, lakini kitoka na elewa na msichana yangu anajua. Mimi zamani nimehama kwa Takaba, nimeishi kwa badadi na yeye imeama simple, naishi kwa badadi, nimekuwa jirani. Sasa imeomba Khadija na akaelewa, anajua namna hii.
Ndio kimila yetu, hata wewe labda wakati wa kwanza labda anapitia shosho yako ama babu. Hiyo story ilifanyika na babu, vile mnasikia, hatukufanyika na sisi, ni babu ndo ameoza.
Khadija is now receiving treatment at the Kenyatta National Hospital. She was admitted Tuesday afternoon in the hospital's burns unit, where she will be under special care. Meanwhile, her husband Sharif Isaac was this afternoon arraigned in court and will remain in remand for the next 21 days pending investigations. Betty Kallo, KTN.
Let's go to one more encouraging story in Uasin Gishu, where Masi Kandiye tells us that there could be found one of the most secure villages in the country. Masi.
We have just arrived from Cheptiret area at a village known as Mogobich. It has a population of about 600 residents who have embraced the Nyumba Kumi initiative. The Nyumba Kumi initiative is overseen by a village elder known as Mr. Joel Rugut, who does it for free, although he says he wouldn't mind an allowance of even 2,000 shillings. Take a look.
Majina yangu naitwa Joel Rugut. Mimi ni mzee mtaa wa Mogobich na mimi nasimamia pande mawili A na B.
Its grounds he understands without a shadow of a doubt. This regular tour to people's households is the norm. As part of the Nyumba Kumi initiative, the village elders, known here as Wazee wa Mtaa, are the chairpersons of a 10-member security committee.
Na ukiona yule mtu amechakuliwa kama mzee wa mtaa, ni mtu ambaye iko na, kwanza wanaangalia tabia, wanaangalia vile hata anajiweza kwa familia, saiti wanaona character.
Once chosen by the community, it's a job done without pay. Mzee Rugut has worked under 3 governments. It is the current constitution that formally acknowledges his role, but that's just about it.
Wazee wa mtaa hawana ofisi. Sasa ofisi yetu ni manyumbani kwetu. Unakuta watu sasa wanakuja na mashita asubuhi, na unajua ni kawaida wageni wakiingia kwako ni lazima hata wapate kikombe ya chai. Bas, na huko sisi tunapambana na mashita ya familia. Sisi tuko na watoto tunawasomesha.
Cheptiret area knows the drill. You have to open your doors to the Mzee wa Mtaa or report any unfamiliar activities in the village.
Yenyewe naenda kuambia memba wa security ya Nyumba Kumi ya kwamba kuna mgeni anakaa siku fulani, anaondoka siku fulani, na ni nani kwangu.
Nyumba Kumi solves not only the security issues here, but also the welfare of the villagers. Just yesterday, Rugut was among the village elders who met Uasin Gishu County Governor Jackson Mandago.
Kwa sababu tuliuliza bwana governor tukuage na seminars, ni kwa sababu saa zingine I'm very young, I'm 52 years, na nashindwa kukesi na mzee wa miaka 80, lakini saa zingine nikiwa kwa seminar nitaweza kujua vile they handle the case.
Mimi nimekubaliana na hawa 100%. Kwani uniform kununua na kitambulisho ni pesa ngapi? Maybe kama national government naona pesa, wakubaliane na sisi kama county we shall look for some money somehow. Kwa sababu kwa upande wa usalama wanachangia pakubwa kuhakikisha kazi yetu pia inakuwa rahisi.
Back in the village, Rugut continues with his rounds. After all, it's the rounds that not only secure the village, but his own family too. It takes a lot of effort to coordinate security of over 110 households in this area, what Mzee Rugut has been doing now for 15 years for free. Although he knows he needs some allowance to boost this activity, Mzee Rugut says the security of the residents here cannot be compromised. Masi Kandiye, KTN, Mogobich Village, Uasin Gishu County.
Welcome back. You're watching KTN Prime. Let's go to some fantastic news. KTN's John Alanamu and Muhammad Ali have scooped the Journalists of the Year awards.
That's right. It was a great day at the Standard Group Center today. The two were among 8 KTN journalists who won awards in various categories.
Standard Group journalists shone at the 2015 Annual Journalism Excellence Awards held last night by the Media Council of Kenya. Sharon Mwanyi now reports.
They are the people that highlight events of the day. And not only that, they put governance under the microscope and hold leaders accountable for their actions. They begin crucial conversations on matters affecting the people. They are journalists. And Monday, outstanding work of Kenyan journalists was awarded.
Anatumia ushawishi wa Biblia kinyume na andiko lenyewe.
Wewe usiende huko hujatoa sadaka, simama hivyo unasimama.
The investigative pieces, Prayer Predators and Makri ya Injili, that took the country by storm, highlighting the false preacher Victor Kanyari, won KTN's John Alanamu and Muhammad Ali the Good Governance Reporting Award. The reputable investigative journalists also bagged the overall Journalist of the Year award for their outstanding journalistic work.
It wouldn't have been possible without the KTN team. Let's start there. And the 5 people that I mean are our producer, Kasim Mohammed, himself a very, very good journalist. Our cameraman, Sam Munya, who I wish was standing next to us here tonight, both of them. Our editors, Calvin Jabedo, as well as Maluti Musau. Our managing editor, Joe Ageo, for giving us a space to work.
Hapa siku ya leo, msifunge gazeti na nyama, msome. Mkiondoka usiku wa leo, tazama runinga, akili kichwani. Na mkiondoka usiku wa leo, mkilala mlale salama.
KTN's Catherine Omwanto and Francis Gethai also scooped the Best TV Health Reporting Award for their story, Amorant's Cold, a story about Samburu men who consider getting a sexually transmitted infection as a rite of passage.
Because they stay segregated from the rest of the community.
KTN's John Juma and Moses Bayer took home the Arts and Culture Award TV category, and business reporter Philip Keitany won Business Reporting Award category. The Standard newspaper reporters were also featured, with Joy Wanja scooping the Children and Youth Affairs Reporting Award print category. Christine Muthe of the Standard Group also won Sports Reporting of the Year, while Paul Wafula and Nyambega Gisesa won Good Governance Reporting print category. Abigail Sum bagged the Print Tourism Reporting Award. KTN reporters shone brightest at the annual awards, corroborating the authority of the news channel. The race was, however, among media giants. Citizen TV's Salim Bilu and Moses Mwakisha bagged the Children and Youth Affairs TV Award, while K24's Francis Karaoke and Edwin Mwai won the Gender Reporting and Best Cameraman Awards respectively. NTV's Smriti Vidyarthi was awarded the Best Broadcaster Award. The awards take place in May of this year during the celebration of the World Press Freedom Day. A big congratulations to all the winners.
Well, a warm welcome here on KTN Business, and we start off with a story on tourism. Kenya's tourism sector continues to take a beating despite mounted efforts to breathe life back into the sector. With the rival numbers and earnings down in 2014, the Kenya Tourism Board says changing the narrative about Kenya as a destination was the key to turning around its fortunes. KTN's Joy Doreen Bira sat down with KTB's Managing Director Murithi Ndegwa to get his thoughts on what's needed in the sector.
We've seen a drop of about 30% compared with the same period last year. Really, we are going through some very challenging times.
This was in a way an admission of the critical state the tourism sector is in. According to 2014 economic survey, tourism numbers dropped from 1.52 million in 2013 to 1.3 million tourists in 2014. In that period, earnings stood at 86 billion shillings, down 8% from 2013 earnings. But while international tourists have stayed away due to insecurity-related incidents, local tourism has yet to fill in the void.
The domestic is a very significant market, But we also cannot forget and ignore the fact that especially foreign currency inflows comes from the international and the regional markets. So we have to grow the pie.
The challenge now for the tourism marketing body remains to change the narrative about Kenya. In the past, safaris and beach tourism proved a gem for the country, but it's product diversity that is likely to lure international tourists back. Earlier in the year, Kenya Tourism Board announced it had set aside 140 million shillings to run a spirited global tourism campaign that seeks to reassure travelers.
We are also running a campaign that is going to be coming on CNN, and this is a campaign that we plan to launch later this month.
The new markets include Asia and South America, while locally the Tembea Kenya campaign is targeting residents to visit numerous sites across the country. While projections indicate that the value of the tourism industry is expected to fall by 10% between 2015 and 2019, the Kenya Tourism Board remains optimistic that all is not lost for the industry. Joy Doreen Bira, KTN Business.
Well, many thanks there, Joy. We do hope those interventions will pay off, noting that the tourism sector contributes a sizable portion of Kenya's GDP. Moving on, East Africa Community member states risk losing trade privileges in the European Union if the economic partnerships agreements arrived at late last year are not approved by their individual parliaments. At a forum organized by the Institute of Economic Affairs, the EU insisted that the deadline for ratification must be adhered to by all partners, failure to which the EAC member states will fall back to a situation witnessed in October last year, where exports to Europe attracted taxes. KTN's Charles Gitonga has the details.
Kenya and her East African Community counterparts must approve the recently agreed upon trade arrangements with the European Union in order to continue enjoying duty and quota-free access to the Union's markets post-October 2016. In a process called ratification, both the EU and East African Community need to seek constitutional approval of the economic partnership agreements in the next 1.5 years, which will now pave way for implementation of the arrangements that took 12 years to negotiate. Delay in having all the East African member states sign the agreements by last year October saw the relationship between Kenya and Europe take a nasty turn. Exports worth 98 billion shillings to the EU attracted tariffs ranging from 5 to 22% up to December 25th.
We were already under the GSP, and there was a discussion in the EU to have Kenya removed, and that takes a process for you to remove a country under the market access regulation. It's a very long legal process. But of course we suffered.
To avoid a similar situation in 2016, parliaments of the 5 East African member states should independently approve the economic agreements, but already there are fears that the process might take longer than the set deadline.
We have to sensitize Parliament. They have to ratify this agreement. They cannot ratify something that they don't understand.
The EU only requires ratification of EPAs by the European Parliament, but not all the 27 member states, and therefore the process is likely to be faster on their end. Charles Gitonga, KTN Business.
And now to some telecommunications news. Last night, Orange Telecom Kenya migrated its CDMA customers to the GSM network in a move meant to improve the quality of its network. With rapid technology changes, Orange hopes to capitalize on the move to grow its customer base. But while CDMA and GSM phones are not compatible, the operator has announced an incentive of up to 10,000 shillings for customers to upgrade their phones. Here's more on that story. In a recent interview with KTN Business, Telkom Orange Chief Marketing and Strategy Officer Vincent Kamadro said they are keen to upgrade the network in a move set to turn around the fortunes of the company.
We chose the modernity, we chose to invest and focus on the networks that are used all over the world, GSM, and that's why tonight we are finalizing the migration of all our CDMA customers to the GSM. So it's not really shutting down the network, it's upgrading their service to the GSM.
While CDMA and GSM networks are virtually matched in terms of voice and data capabilities, the latter has been the most successful in the local market, with CDMA, which is considered obsolete technology. Customers will be allowed to maintain their old numbers after the swap from the CDMA infrastructure to the GSM technology with an up to 10,000 shillings voucher to help them get a GSM compatible phone.
All the 3G rollouts that we are doing across the country, it's a winning strategy, it's a winning combination, and it should allow us to reach, let's say, maybe 5 million customers by the end of the year.
Orange currently has 3.3 million customers, but says it expects this to grow to 5 million this year. To drive this, the operator will also look to deploy a 4G network, offering faster data speeds and better services to customers. Safaricom has already deployed the 4G network in parts of Nairobi, with Airtel expected to launch its own service this month. Well, and before we take a look at our financial report, we as KTN Business do congratulate our very own Philip Keitany on actually winning this award in this year's Media Council Awards. Let's now take a quick look at how your money performed in our financial report. My name is Abi Agina. Let's do this tomorrow, same time, same place.
Three Algerian clubs have been drawn in the same group for the mini-league stage of the 2015 Orange CAF Champions League. Defending champions as Setif, compatriots USM Alger and M. Elma, all from Algeria, have been drawn together in Group B, with Sudanese side El Meri completing that quartet. It is the first time for three clubs from the same country to have reached the mini-league stage of a major continental club championships, and again coincidentally being housed in the same group. Unlike Setif and USM, MC Elma are in this stage for the first time in their history. It is sad to note that Olympian Elizabeth Ondiego is yet to leave Kenyatta National Hospital over a bill of 63,000 Kenyan shillings. Ondiego, a pioneer Olympics female boxer, could not be discharged from the Kenyatta National Hospital since she is unable to raise the medical fee. Elizabeth was admitted to the hospital 2 weeks ago after she was knocked and injured during a hit-and-run accident along the Eastern Bypass. The Amateur Boxing Association chairman, John Kameta, who spoke to KTN Sports, said he had marshaled support from fellow boxers, but all is in vain.
Nilikuwa najiandaa kwa All Africa Games. So nilikuwa nafanya tu mazoezi yangu nikingojea trials ifanyike. The ministry nasikia wameongeleshwa, inasemekana kwa hii state wananga kitu wanaweza do, sawa hata mimi nilikuwa nashindwa. Nakosaje kitu ya kufanya, na wajua ministry iko kwa government, wezi wacha tu mtu hivyo.
I bet any Red Devil fan will agree that today's Juventus versus Real Madrid is a reunion of Manchester United old boys, as Cristiano Ronaldo and Xavi Hernandez come up against Carlos Tevez and Patrice Evra, while Paul Pogba will be watching from the stands. The two sides will lock on in the first leg of the UEFA Champions League semi-finals in a match that is currently on. UEFA Champions League holder Real Madrid will be without France striker Karim Benzema for the first leg of the Champions League semi-final against Juventus. Benzema, 27, has scored 22 goals in this term, but will not play against the Italian champions in Turin after failing to recover from a knee injury. Gareth Bale, however, is set to return for the Spaniards after returning to Saturday's win at Sevilla following a calf injury. On the other hand, having secured their 31st Serie A title on Saturday, thanks to a 1-0 at Sampdoria, Juventus remain on course for a treble this season. Juve pair Andro Pirlo and Giogo Chiellini are expected to play. The pair helped Rossoneri win the Serie A title, 2 Champions Leagues, and the Club World Cup between 2001 and 2009. The major difference is Real Madrid have won 10 trophies in the competition, while Juventus have won only 2 of the Champions League finals, in which they appeared in 1996 and 1985, finishing runners-up 5 times. The semi-final meeting is a repeat of the 1998 final, which Real Madrid won 1-0 in Amsterdam Arena, courtesy of Bridjak Mijatovic's goal. That match is currently on, and Alvaro Morata has scored for Juventus, and attack battle it will be, but there's still some 70 minutes to play. And that's all for today's edition of KTN Sports. My name is Moses Wahisi. Enjoy your night.
Well, it's time to wind up the bulletin, but not before we remind you of our big question tonight, and it's all about the
Kogelo triplets.
That's right, the Kogelo triplets. Their father is in a fix because he wants to give away his triplets because he feels that he may not be able to take care of them. Let's have a look at what you had to say, starting with the poll result.
That's right, the poll result is out, should be on your screen any moment now. 85% say no, 15% say yes. Thank you for sending in your opinions this evening. I'm just going to read an SMS here. This one says, oh yes, they're better off in the hands of a person that needs to adopt them than with a father who can hardly afford a meal. And another yes came in an SMS. You say this is a sincere case of inability to afford. It's better than killing the children.
I'm trying to look for a more moderate one here. And this one, Enoch M. Ironman says, Kogelo triplets, if he wishes to do so, then it's okay. Dominic Walubengo says, okay, the days when God sent manna and quail seem to be quite distant. Hashtag Kogelo triplets. There's one here from Timothy Kibe who says, no, the effort must be implemented. No more dream time to wake up and achieve. Not sure what exactly that means.
Right. Well, what I find interesting, Wilson, is that especially looking at my SMSs, so many people have offered to help.
Absolutely.
So many people
That's right.
asking, for M-Pesa numbers to contribute. They're asking how they can help. Some even offering to adopt the children.
Sums up really the Kenyan spirit, doesn't it?
And I think that's a great place to end this bulletin, isn't it?
Great place to end this
With hope in the Kenyan spirit.
That's right.
That's right.
Thank you very much for joining us on KTN Prime. My name is Wilson Mburu. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Good night.
It was a pleasure having you. William Silo as our sign language interpreter tonight. I'm Nancy Kachingira. Let's do this again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Bye for now.